we wish to board at once.
With all due respect, the ambassadors for the Supreme Chancellor wish to board immediately.
The first ship we see in the prequel trilogy is the Radiant 7, a Consular-class cruiser. This elegant predecessor to the CR-90 is one of the most underrated ships of the prequels and Clone Wars, and this week we are going to take a look at it. I'm Joey from Radio Free Coruscant, and this is the Consular Cruiser. Design. The Corellian Engineering Corporation Consular-class Space Cruiser was a medium-sized transport ship. It had a narrow main body with the ship's bridge at the front, with a conical escape craft known as a salon pod below and behind that, followed by a flared section holding its escape pods and an engineering section flanked by two triangular braces for the ship's three cylindrical engines. The Consular Cruiser also had an antenna cluster on top of the engineering section, an additional antenna next to the cockpit, and two airlocks in the ship's waist. The interior of the Consular had numerous staterooms, crew quarters, and similar facilities. The aforementioned salon pod contained a meeting room for diplomatic missions. Salon pods came in multiple configurations to suit different species' physiological requirements, meaning that a consular cruiser could equip different pods depending on what planet it was being sent to. During the Clone Wars, a combat variant of the consular known as the Charger C70 Cruiser was designed. It was almost identical to the original, but the communications cluster at the rear was removed and several weapons were added. One to the rear, one to the front, and 4 amidships. It was also made slightly larger overall. The Consular Cruiser is perhaps most famous for its striking red paint job. This indicated that the ship was part of the Republic's diplomatic corps and signified its ambassadorial neutrality. Only ships that came directly from Coruscant were painted fully red, though. Ships hailing from other planets only had red stripes. Specifications. The Consular Cruiser measured 115 meters long by about 72 meters wide and 32 meters tall. It had a Class II hyperdrive and a maximum atmospheric speed of 900 kilometers per hour, propelled by the ship's 3 Dyne 577 radial atomizer engines. The ship had a crew of 9, a captain, a pilot, a co-pilot, a navigator, a comms operator, and 4 engineers. It could carry 24 passengers and 1 year of provisions, as well as 1,000 metric tons of cargo. It was unarmed, but had some of the most powerful sensors and communications equipment on the market. Its computer and comms systems were capable of decoding and translating even the strangest of alien languages. Perhaps that is what gave the Consular its incredibly steep price tag of 3 million credits. The Charger C70 Retrofit included numerous improvements. For starters, it was larger, measuring 138 meters long by about 83 meters wide and 21 meters tall. Its hyperdrive remained the same, but its sublight engines were upgraded to reach an incredible 1,200 kilometers per hour in atmosphere. The biggest difference between the new and old versions was, of course, the addition of weapons. The primary weapon configuration consisted of 5 twin turbolaser turrets and 1 twin laser cannon turret, but there was also an additional configuration that included 4 twin heavy laser cannon turrets, a twin light laser cannon, a quad laser cannon, and twin concussion missile launchers. According to Wikipedia, the crew and passenger complement remained the same in the Charger C70, but I'm inclined to think that it should have at least 6 gunners, one for each main weapon. Perhaps they were automated or controlled by the engineers or something, though. Who knows? Despite being larger, faster, and heavily armed, the price of the Charger remained the same at 3 million credits. Was the Republic getting ripped off with the Consular, or are they getting a terrific deal with the Charger? Or was the Consular's communication equipment somehow exactly as expensive as the Charger's weapons, engine upgrades, and size increase? History. According to legends, an early version of the Consular was put into service shortly after the Rusan Reformation around 990 BBY. I don't really think it could or should be the same model of ship, but it was at least a ship with a similar role and design. The earliest confirmed use of a consular cruiser was in the Stark Hyperspace War in 44 BBY. This came in the form of Republic light assault cruisers, which were armed variants of both the Consular Cruiser and the similar, smaller CSS-1 Corellian Star Shuttle. The light assault cruiser wasn't the same as the Charger C70, but we don't really know anything about it, so I didn't cover it in the specifications section. We don't get to see a proper original Consular in action until 32 BBY, when the Radiant 7 carried Jedi Ambassadors Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi to Naboo to discuss the blockade of Naboo with the Trade Federation. They landed aboard the battleship Saak'ak, where the Radiant 7 was fired upon by a concealed turbolaser in the hangar's roof and destroyed. Ironically, this was also the last time we see an original Consular on screen, although a fleet of them traveled to the planet Carnelian 4 on Kenobi's orders to survey it for Tabana gas in 29 BBY. At the start of the Clone Wars in 22 BBY, the Republic Navy and CEC started Project Supercharger, which took consulars in the service of the Republic Judicial Forces and upgraded them to the Charger C70 Retrofit. The newly upgraded ships saw action in many notable battles in the Clone Wars, including Ryloth, Rishi Station, and Quell. They were typically used as escorts, armed transports, scouts, and picket ships. Shockingly, we haven't seen any C-70s after the Civil War in canon. In Legends, though, several were used by the Rebel Alliance in the Galactic Civil War, and they were said to be well liked by their crews. The Empire was less impressed, though, and most of the Chargers they inherited were mothballed or destroyed. And that's everything there is to know about the Consular Cruiser. It's a shame such a cool-looking and iconic ship doesn't get used more often, but you could say that about a lot of ships, I guess. Anyway, please like the video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think of the Consular Cruiser. Do you like the original or the Charger C70 better? I'd love to know. But anyway, I will see you next week. RFC, out.